I've gone to Greece every single summer of my life, and growing up with that and the sea and the food and the family, that's all a really big part for me. So even though I haven't lived there, I think it's just like, it's who I am.
Born and raised in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, which is the prairies, cold winters, hot summers. My parents were from India, but to be honest, I've always seen myself as Canadian.
I was born in Belgium and I am officially Belgian, but I moved away after 7 weeks there to the Middle East in Bahrain, Jordan and Oman. And then I've lived now here in London for 10 years. And I recently obtained my British citizenship, which I was very excited about.
I was born in London, but I'm Lebanese, and even though I've lived here my whole entire life, I'm 100% Lebanese because my dad's side's Lebanese and my mum's side's Lebanese as well.
I'm as northern as they come. I was born in York and I spent all my life living in Yorkshire or the northeast. That was 20 years ago. Then I made that big decision to migrate south.
I am Can-American. I was born in America, raised in Canada for 7 years, and then I moved here to the UK.
I'm Korean Israeli. My mother is Korean, my father is Israeli. I lived in Israel for most of my life and moved here last September.
I'm Irish. I come from Dublin originally. The name Nolan is derived from Manulon, which is a Celtic name.
I'm Iranian. I've been living in London my whole life. I was born here, and both my parents are Iranian, or Persian if you might call it, and I go there quite often.
I'm British. I'm a British passport holder. I was born in Wales. I consider myself Welsh. I also consider myself British. And undeniably, there's a part of me that's also Indian.
I was born in England, but my mother is Welsh and my dad is South African, but I tend to affiliate more with the Welsh side.
I'm Italian and I come from a small town near Venice, about 15 miles away from Venice.
I am a Peruvian Austrian man, you could say. I was born in America, but I moved to the UK when I was only 2 years old. I lived here for 10 years and then I lived in Berlin for 1 year, and ever since coming back from Berlin I've lived here in the UK, in London.
I was born in Anfield and I was brought up in Liverpool for the first 25 years of my life before I went to university, and I identify with Liverpool. I don't necessarily identify with England, but I do, but I identify more with Liverpool.
I feel European, to be honest. I'm half Austrian, half American, but that kind of, it feels like heritage. It doesn't come into my life that much. I've got family abroad, but I've lived in London my entire life.
I'm very good at Indian cooking. I make a great biryani, great chicken curries, great dals, but I can equally make a really good Welsh stew. I can make very good Welsh cakes. And so for me, just on a very simple human level, getting calories in, my identities express themselves.
The best thing about Iranian food is probably the tahdig, which is like crispy rice, and
I personally really like the amount of flavour in it. There's also, it's very balanced meals. There's a lot of vegetables, proteins, fruits, everything. I love Iranian food.
My favourite thing that is Greek culture in my life is probably my grandma's cooking, because she makes the best goulardia, which are basically these meatballs in lemon sauce. And then as a dessert, she makes these cookies called goulardia, which are like braided, and I love them so much. I eat them by the box full. It's really bad, but they're so good.
Sometimes we go out to brunch, and one time there were just all these amazing food stalls, and then she was very interested in like the Korean food stall. And I took her over to the Polish stand because I was like, oh my goodness, it's Polish sausage and pierogies. And that's basically how we...
They were really yummy, I have to admit.
I eat Lebanese food every single day of every single week. It's delicious. And my favourite meal is moukhia, which is a sort of spinach stew.
We had a raclette together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I invited Lena for a raclette at my house, which is, it's kind of a big event in my family where it's the first raclette of winter, and
yeah, it was, you know, honour for Elena to have been
cultural
there.
experience.
I love Russian music and I love reading in Russian, being able to write in Russian, communicate with the whole part of the world, so I think it's expanded my knowledge and point of view.
The most important thing for me about my Welsh heritage is the Welsh language. About a year ago, I was inspired to start learning it after listening to an old 14th century lament.
In Belgium, most people are bilingual or trilingual, and so for me, languages is very important. And so when I came to Harrodian and they had a big system for languages, it really facilitated that aspect of my culture and life.
Being Irish is incredibly important to me. Having lived here for 10 years, I think for me, my accent is incredibly important, of where that it very much like is part of who I am as an Irish man. And like, I really have tried hard not to lose it.
We both speak Farsi and English at home. Majority of the time we speak Farsi, for example at dinners or just at meals in general.
Our family encourages both of us to try and really like integrate ourselves in both culture, which is something we both like appreciate a lot.
So one of the things that I miss about my culture is my dialect, which is just spoken in my Venetian area. It's called Venetian dialect. And it is a language that I don't use it to communicate, but just to express my inner feelings, because it comes from the bottom of my heart.
Family is one of the most important parts of the Iranian culture, as I feel that whenever we go to like a special event, we all have very strong bonds and we can communicate about our daily life, and just loving our family members is a very important part in the Iranian culture.
It's also, when we're older, we're like expected to call our parents like every single day.
What's special about Lebanese culture for me is how friendly we are, how welcoming we are. We're all like a family, no matter whether we're strangers or something. Our nationality is the most welcoming and kind.
From the north, I miss the sense of community. So growing up, I'd walk down the streets and I'd be able to say hello to everyone that you'd meet, and they would all be happy to see me and give you a kind reply. I remember moving to London and it took me a week until these niceties were knocked out of me.
For me, the most important aspect of my identity is Judaism. This is because as much as it is a religion, it is also a culture and a community that me, myself, my family and my friends can fall back to.
I feel what I have taken with me from the early formation of my identity in my childhood is this very definite urge and need to look after other people and make sure that everybody is supported and helped, because it's a communal spirit that I was brought up with.
If you would ask me what I feel closest to identifying as, it's not Peruvian or Austrian. The truth is I'm not half anything. I'm a full Peruvian and a full Austrian, and that's actually why I feel closest to London, because of its multicultural, inclusive nature.
When I first came here, what struck me is that it's very much a sense of community, and that everyone was accepted. So it didn't matter what you were, whether you're gay, whether you're black, whoever you are accepted here, and that it's great and that's celebrated.
What I love about the international aspect is how it draws humanity together. And I know in terms of identity and the things that we talk about often that separates us often does so in a divisive, hurtful way. But for me, the international aspect of different people from different places coming together as humanity is a celebration of difference. And in terms of identity now, I see myself, number one, as human, number two, as Canadian.
This school really chimed with both my cultural background and my own identity. Very quickly I realised it was supportive, collaborative and communal.
I remember in 10s when I first joined, I was completely silent. So, but then Miss Eid, our teacher at the time, she asked to say, "Where'd you go over the summer?" And I said, "Lebanon." And Ramsey across the entire classroom.
That was a point where I just knew, oh, here's another Lebo.
He's like, "Are you Lebanese?"
I would just shouted across the classroom, "Are you Lebanese?" And when he said yes, that just clicked. And we became friends since then, really, really good friends.
My friendship with Leah kind of sprouted at the same time with me preparing for my bat mitzvah and also the blossoming of our friendship. And it was quite nice to just have someone there who kind of was experiencing the same thing at the same time as me.
For me at my old school, I was the only Jewish girl or Jewish person in my year, and coming here at Harrodian and finding Sky, who was my buddy when I came here in the 11s, and finding that she was also a Jewish girl going through the same things as I was really nice.
It's very funny because we are basically like opposites.
I am.
We're the only similarity we might have, although others we do, but our main similarity is that we're from different places.
It is.
But also there's the fact that she's an extrovert, I'm an introvert.
I am very extroverted.
She likes talking in front of people. I hate public speaking.
I am very outgoing and friendly, and you are more get me away from human beings.
Yes, I'm very shy too. I don't like talking to people that much, but I do talk to them.
Like me.
I'm half Russian and half English, but have never lived in Russia.
And I'm fully Belgian, but I've never lived in Belgium. So I think through our friendship, we managed to really... What's the word?
I mean, learn from each other, for one.
Learn from each other, and the fact that even though we've kind of now lived in England, in London, most of our lives, or fully our lives, we still feel a lot of our culture.
This is a samovar, and it is a traditional Russian teapot, which is something that reminds me of sitting in my countryside house in Russia and drinking tea with my whole family.
So I guess my symbol of being my culture and being northern is my flat cap, which is instantly recognisable. No matter where you are, you're from the north, you've got a flat cap.
These are the 4 flags that represent where I am from. This is the Korean flag to show that my mother's side is Korean. This is the Israeli flag because my father is Israeli. This is the American flag to show that my education is American because I spent most of my life in an American school. And this is the British flag because I was born in Britain, and hopefully I can become more of a British citizen soon.
My chosen object is the daffodil. I wouldn't consider myself 100% Welsh, but certainly learning the language is my attempt at helping keeping the culture alive. And certainly when we go to Wales, that sense of national identity and pride in my country does come to life.
Yeah. So the evil eye is something which is given as a housewarming gift or just something to wear on clothes and jewellery, and it's meant to ward off evil or any bad energy coming your way. So if someone gives it to you, it's meant to be like a very loving, caring sign.
As often as I can, I still go home to Liverpool. I've got a place to live there, and this book, The Mersey Sound, encapsulates what Liverpool means to me. It's the arts, it's the culture, it's the vibrancy, and it's the life.
This is a Cyrus cylinder. It's the first documented human right by Cyrus the Great of ancient Persia. I really value it as it demonstrates Iran's historical significance as an ancient power of forward-thinking mindset.
This Bible sums up key parts of my heritage. It's from India, dated 1964, and it really strongly reminds me of the South Wales valleys where I grew up, where this book was ever present, but also the fact that it's originally from India and that part of my background.
These are 2 objects that represent my roots really well. This is a close replica of my great-grandfather's hat. He was one of the first early settlers in the state of Arizona, and he was a cattle wrangler. This Polish angel represents my roots really well because my mother's family escaped on the last boat before World War II started and moved to Canada.
Okay, so this is a traditional Venetian mask that I use when I go there for carnival, and I love to wear it because I like the idea of the mask and hiding my identity behind the mask and being someone else for a day.
I think it's important that we have moments where we celebrate how we're different. I think that's the only way that we realize how similar we are. So a culture day, fantastic, because it's the starting point of conversations that have to be had for the realization that we're all essentially the same.
Being in this film and being part of this project, it's led me to think more deeply about who I am, what my culture is, and I think that's important for everyone. You know, it doesn't matter if you're like deemed exotic or not. It's pertinent even if you're from just down the road.